Towards the ending of Full Metal Jacket, the main characters got themselves into a firefight with a lone sniper who is hiding among the ruined buildings, picking off 3 of them before the sniper is revealed to be a female sniper. She gets shot by one of the Marines, and she is executed by Joker upon her request. Joker now has the 1,000-yard stare, and that is the ending of the film. Sounds simple and straightforward enough, right? Well, go watch the end sequence again. You will find there is a lot of subtle details going on here. The first half of Full Metal Jacket involving the boot camp training section is near enough universally praised, but the second half of the film isn't as appreciated by critics and audiences, and yet the second half has as much artistic sophistication as the first half of the film, and as much as the best films of director Stanley Kubrick. For this video, I am going to draw your attention to one very subtle aspect of the ending sequence, which I believe to have been intended by Kubrick. It certainly had an effect upon critics and audiences to this day, which we will explore later on in this video. This is clearly achieved by Kubrick's subliminal direction of a scene, which thoroughly disguises a certain aspect of the sniper character, and the scene has additional aesthetic tricks going on which distract us from detecting it. This issue is quite complex though, so first we're going to break down the subliminal structure of a scene in detail. Afterwards, I will illustrate the scene's subliminal effect upon critics and audiences. I will then show an important interview clip from Kubrick, which is pivotal to this video. And then we will explore the possible motives from Kubrick in engaging with his subliminal deception. Okay, let's get into the movie. Starting the scene off, Joker crouches about as he approaches around the corner where he will find the sniper looking out of a window. Note that the railing next to him is the height of his head when he is standing. Keep that in mind. There is a lot of burning flames around the place, which makes this interior scene look more visually stimulating to look at. Along with the unusual geometric designs below the railing, you can make out a swastika outline here. The visual design of these geometric patterns in an interior setting is unique to this scene, so we are taking a bit of conscious notice of these geometric patterns, and the use of geometric patterns will carry on throughout the scene. Joker turns the corner and sees the sniper, who is not standing upright. She is bending her knees and her head appears to be tilted forward towards the window. The set design of a sniper's lair, if we call it as such, features a stairway to a heightened platform that will be used to justify the lower camera angle close to the point of view of Joker, who is on the lower ground. On the sides of the stairs are railings with more geometric patterns. The geometric patterns on the right are identical to the one we saw next to Joker earlier on. Note that they both have these slight, protruding, arrow-like outlines on the top section. And yet, the railings we see near the sniper are clearly much shorter, being about the height of the sniper's chest. Why is this relevant? Because I believe the height differences of the railings affect how we perceive the sniper's height. In combination with the lower camera angles, the lower height of the railing next to the sniper gives her the illusionary impression of being taller than she is, as if she is almost as tall as Joker. As we will see throughout the sequence, there is a very conscious and deliberate effort made by Kubrick to model our perception of how tall the sniper is, and how visually comparable she is to the Marines. Joker tries to shoot at the sniper, standing up in the process, but his gun jams, resulting in the sniper turning around to shoot at him. Immediately we see the lens flare effect of the flames overlapping with the sniper, overlapping with her face here. She fires a rifle which itself shows ignited sparks, made more prominent by the slow motion effect. So immediately in these first 2 shots showing the sniper's face, we are bombarded with visual distractions of ethereal looking flames and flashing gunfire, distracting us a bit from mentally processing the sniper's face properly. And her face is shown to be obscured by the lens flare effect, disguising her face. The sound effects of the AK-47 firing in slow motion are very dramatic, which draws our conscious attention slightly away from the sniper's facial appearance. Throughout the shootout, the sniper herself does wide-eye expressions, nostril flares, and especially a lot of baring of teeth considering her predicament. Shortly before the scene, Animal Mother himself bares a lot of his teeth and has a few moments where he bulges his eyes. Well, throughout the film, some other characters do this. All of these emotional facial displays throughout the film, I believe, psychologically prime us for the sniper scene, where the sniper has a lot of wide-eye expressions and intense baring of teeth, contorting her facial appearance. These comparisons would therefore give us the impression that if a sniper's face was more casual, her face would look like those of an average adult person. Again, this will tie into the issue of the subliminal deception in the sequence. The sniper goes down the steps now, going past the railing which for her is chest height, though the wooden pillar next to her is just head height. We'll come back to that later. We get to see her hair more clearly. She has what appears to be pigtails braided at both sides of her head, but we also see some chunks of her hair flap about, almost like flapping wings of a bird. It's quite an unusual hairdo, portions of it that are nicely groomed and other portions being quite messy. It might mean nothing, but I personally think the sniper's hairdo reflects her character. She is an innocent-looking girl caught up in the chaos of warfare, which involves her becoming as rough and brutal as the Marines. She is certainly experienced, given that she kills 3 Marines by herself without being spotted until now. After Joker drops his gun, the sniper is seen past the stairs. Joker is still standing upright, but she is still presented from a lower camera angle, making her look fairly tall. She crosses over to a position where we can also see a window with flickering flames in the background and some jagged diagonal patterns. I think these do draw a bit of our conscious attention away from a sniper. Maybe the same can be said with his circular geometric pattern behind Joker. Next shots, we get to see her face more clearly, and she now looks noticeably younger in these shots. But as I mentioned, the flashing gunfire and the flickering flaming background could be a bit distracting for first-time viewers. This shot lasts for 1 second before cutting back to Joker, so audiences will not have enough time to consciously detect and process the sniper's face. And after 1 second of this shot, she gets shot in multiple areas from Rafterman with blood spurting out, and she tumbles to the ground. Rafterman now goes to check around the area to make sure the sniper doesn't have any comrades or friends somewhere nearby to attack them. That alone is a plot distraction. We have more details, which are quite distracting, more flickering flames, this hexagonal architrave of a doorway, and more geometric patterns on the windows. He steps past a sniper who is lying on the floor. She is sprawled in a position, so it is hard to make out how tall she is compared to the Marines. That plus the dark lighting. However, Rafterman goes past the steps where the sniper came from, and we can perfectly see that the wooden pillar holding the railing to Rafterman's right is just about the height of his chest. The sniper was shown to be only a bit taller than the pillar, therefore she would only be about the height of Rafterman's shoulders. By the way, in case you don't know, Full Metal Jacket was shot in London, England with a lot of constructed sets, including this set. Also on the left side of the stairs is a broken down pillar. This emphasizes a point I'm making here about this pillar, on the right side of the stairs. However, Rafterman himself is not a tall guy. Look at him next to Joker here. And so, the girl herself, if we cross-reference the height details, she would be as tall as Joker's chest. According to multiple online sources, the actor who played Joker, Matthew Modine, was 6'3". He is a tall guy. But we wouldn't consciously notice the height discrepancies on first viewing, and perhaps rewatches of this movie, unless you study the scene in detail. Additionally, we are shown earlier on of a couple of Vietnamese hookers who are presented as being tall themselves, though this girl is shown to be smaller than Animal Mother. Sergeant Hartman, the aggressive older guy who bullies everyone around him, he is shorter than the young but tall recruits Joker and Private Pyle. These details made at the very beginning of the movie brushes aside the issue of height when comparing ages. These pieces of dialogue relating to the Marines' use might be a contributory factor as well of how we perceive a sniper at the end of the film.
If you get killed, your mom will find me after I rotate back to the world and she'll beat the shit out of me.
Good morning, little schoolgirl. I'm a little schoolboy, too.
Oh. I wanted to be the first kid on my block to get a confirmed kill.
These dead adult Marines here lay on the ground, surrounded by the Marines. The sniper will share the same kind of company at the end of the film, casting her as a person kindred to them. You can perfectly see here from all the observations throughout this video there is a lot of determination made to trick us into perceiving the sniper as being a tall person when she is not. Back to the sniper scene. Ratterman comes back down to the sniper, him being a person of average height. We get to artificially assume the sniper laying on the floor is somewhat similar in stature to Ratterman, at least while watching the scene. He is shown with a fair amount of screen time next to her. The rest of the Marines come around to the sniper's dying body. Her body is sprawled on the floor. She is bending her knees, making the size of her harder to consciously make out compared to these guys. Being that Ratterman is closer to the camera than Animal Mother and the two other Marines next to Animal Mother, it makes Ratterman appear slightly taller in this composition. Joker, who is directly opposite Ratterman, still maintains his true comparative height to Ratterman, but is not directly next to Ratterman. The rest of the scene consists of close-ups to the faces of the Marines and of the dying sniper. The sniper's head and chest are made to appear on screen almost as big as the Marines' heads. Actually, her head on screen in the edit looks bigger than the heads of these two Marines. This Marine, by the way, says this piece of dialogue which certainly contributed to making me believe that the sniper is an older person on my first viewing, specifically above the age of consent.
No more boom boom for this baby, son.
She said no boom boom with her brother.
Hey, what the motherfucker?
The sniper's head is tilted back as she lays on the ground, emphasizing her nostrils. Her eyes are wide open throughout, so is her mouth, her face being contorted again. I don't know if her being able to keep her eyes open throughout the scene with the painful gun injuries is realistic. Whenever I see someone in agonizing pain in the real world, they tend to keep closing and tightening their eyelids as if battling with their pain. So I would say the use of her eyes is a directorial factor. I would argue as well the flickering dim lighting of the flames disguises her facial appearance further. And final piece of observation, when she speaks, her voice is expressed in heavy breaths, disguising her actual voice. Okay, with all of these details in this scene explored, you should have figured out by now that the actual concern of the scene is the height of the sniper girl, and especially her age. Below camera angles themselves show that effort has been deliberately made to subliminally disguise the sniper's actual height, which I have proven to be about as tall as Joker's chest height, much shorter than this prostitute. Based on this factor, she is likely to be a young teenager at most. Here is a couple of pictures of the actress who played the sniper. Here, she looks very suspiciously youthful next to Kubrick's assistant, Leon Vitali, and her head is not as big as Vitali's. Yet, when I first saw the film at age 14, I originally assumed her to be in her late teens, closer to Joker's height. Looking around online, the vast majority of online searches of a sniper character and descriptions of a basic plot describe a sniper as a teenager. A fair assumption. But this article from Looper described this sniper as a young VC woman. Film critic Pauline Kael, in her scathing review for the film when it came out in 1987, she mistaken the sniper as a young Vietnamese woman. Another film critic named Hemi Sheeran of the Chicago Reader, again, when the film came out, he refuted, and he also called her a woman too. Leonard Clady of the Los Angeles Times, he described the sniper as a woman. A more recent review from 2020 by Alison Rose, she thought the sniper is a woman too. And on a DVD commentary, a guy who took part in it named Jay Cox said this.
It was
Stanley upping the ante one more time, which of course he loved to do. It makes it so much more challenging and effective that the sniper is a young and very attractive woman. You expect, because of that, all your gender stereotypes come into play and are totally, immediately refuted.
For these people, the illusion of a sniper being older than she actually was worked a treat. I recently put forward the question of a sniper's age in a discussion group online. At the time of me editing this video, I have 6 responses. 4 of them specified her as being in her late teens or early 20s. One said she thinks the actress might be older but could have been casted because of her youthful appearance. And only one guy said that when he first saw the movie, he thought she was 12 to 14 years old. But he also said in later viewings, he now thinks it's obvious she is more likely to be 18 to 20 years old. That's an interesting, unusual response. I asked people on another discussion group. Fortunately, I got 2 responses that each specify an age or age ranges they personally estimate. This time, the responses are really varied. The tally chart I made up on screen here focuses on the youngest estimate they give. So for example, when one answers she is between 15 to 17, I put down 15. When someone else says she is between 13 to 15, I put down 13. I'm just focusing on the youngest estimate they give for this list. As you can see here, the responses are incredibly varied. A lot of people seem to agree that they think the sniper was in her mid-teens, but there are 5 people who commented she is above the age of 18, and 6 people who said she is age 13 or under. I had one guy who thought she was 10 years old. Unfortunately, I cannot show screenshots of the responses from either discussion group because to do so would violate the privacy policies of those groups, so I intend to respect those policies. But public perception of a sniper gets even stranger. On YouTube, I came across these reaction videos where YouTubers watch Full Metal Jacket for the first time. Upon watching them specifically reacting to the sniper scene, a lot of them immediately said, "Oh my god, it's a little girl," or "It's a kid." I watched about 13 of the reaction videos and only 2 videos specify an age. One said age 16 at most, and the other said around age 12. The other reaction videos, I don't know what exact age they had in mind, but based upon their choice of words, which typically says it's a little girl or it's a little kid, it would seem they think of a sniper as a preteen. Well, what's going on with these audience responses? I got plenty of people who say she's in her teens. It seems to be the most agreed upon perspective of her character. But then I also got some other people saying she's in her late teens or early 20s. I got a handful of critics saying she's a woman. And now I got some people here with these reaction videos saying she's a little kid. There is clearly no consensus among audiences of the specific age of a sniper character. What really modelled the discussions further actually is the original screenplay draft. The sniper is specified in the script as being no more than 17 years old, although there's another version of the script, I think it's a shooting script, which did describe her as a 15-year-old. The sniper is also described as being not quite 5 feet tall, which implies that she could be pre-pubescent. However, this study specifies the average height of South Vietnamese soldiers who served during the Vietnam War as being 5'2". I suppose that's a similar height to this guy, who is slightly shorter than the girl he is pimping out. Additionally, in the screenplay version, when the sniper is shot down, the guy who has thrown in the sexual remark about the sniper, "No more boom boom for his baby son," in the original screenplay version, he says, "No more boom boom for this mama son." Looking at online searches, the term mama son refers to a fully grown woman. That's quite different from the term baby son, which apparently means village kids. However, a lot of us do call our sexual partners baby. In fact, the prostitute greeted herself to joke her with the line, "Hey baby." And then there is a very strange mystery about the very actress who played the sniper, Ngoc Lee. Forgive me if I don't pronounce her name correctly. It turns out that there are 2 Vietnamese actresses named Ngoc Lee. The Ngoc Lee who is more well known and has plenty of on-screen credits, she doesn't have the Full Metal Jacket movie among her on-screen credits. And she doesn't seem to talk about the Full Metal Jacket movie at all, even on her social media pages. Meanwhile, the Ngoc Lee who is credited as a sniper only has that role and apparently no other on-screen credit. So this is a really strange mystery. This topic is quite a head spinner at this point, but very fortunately for us, there is actually an answer to how old the sniper is, and here it is in these clips.
There's an interesting irony too in the fact that in order to train the Marines to be really told, pounded into their heads, this thing about your rifle is only a tool, it's a hard heart that kills, your killer instinct, and so on. And yet, of course, in the end, this little 12-year-old Eurasian angel has shot 3 men in the most merciless way and tried to kill Ngoc, and obviously didn't need to be trained at Paris Island to do this.
I think a lot of the audience at that moment didn't know how to answer to that 12-year-old girl. It left you not resolved, no way to resolve. It left you at war's doorstep. These are the consequences. These are the unpredictabilities of war.
12 years old. This is how old this sniper character is, and judging from these photos, the actress was probably 12 years old as well. That personally took me by surprise when I first discovered it because, as I said, I originally thought she was in her late teens. Okay, so what's the big deal then? Well, aside from the scene being a very good, interesting example of Kubrick's mastery of subliminal deception upon his audience, the scene is now shown to be a murder of a child, complete with blood splatters. Joker's 1,000-yard stare is now more emphasized as being about a feeling of guilt of murdering a young kid. An example of the horrendous atrocities of warfare. You may be asking me, if Kubrick wanted to show us a child sniper being shot dead, then why didn't he just make that point clear to make that scene more poignant? After all, he did admit to it in his audio interview for a French source, the cast members know it, and there were already dialogue and metaphor shown in the film about metaphorical child abuse and child murder, death of innocence, or killing of innocence.
Any women or children? Sometimes. How can you shoot women and children? Easy. You just don't lead them so much.
Personally, I suspect 3 factors were at work in conceiving and filming this scene. The first is to do with possible censorship issues at the time. Behind the scenes reports show that Kubrick originally thought about having the dead sniper's head hacked off by Animal Mother in a celebratory manner, but he dropped it because he thought it would be too gruesome, and maybe censors would object to it in some way. I don't know if the censors didn't know about the sniper's age and just assumed her to be in her late teens, giving the scene of a child being shot at in a bloody manner a free pass. The issue of her spurting blood is toned down by the dark lighting and the fiery background visuals, so her gun injuries look less offensive on screen. The second possibility relates to how Kubrick designed Full Metal Jacket as a movie that appeals to both pro-war and anti-war audiences, or more precisely, pro-military and anti-military audiences. Full Metal Jacket is an anti-war movie without a doubt. America's involvement in the Vietnam War was already disgraced anyway. However, I think Kubrick wanted to make this movie that is full of dark humour so that the people who either support the military or are serving in the military could enjoy it and be more receptive to the film's messages. In fact, it can be argued that the strong appeal of the Animal Mother character is an indicator as such. With that kind of presentation in mind, I suspect the ambiguity of a sniper's age allows the military supporters among the audiences to comfortably assume that this is just a girl in her late teens or early 20s to downplay the tragedy of the situation in their heads, not knowing this was a kid. If the Marine characters are clearly presented to audiences to have killed a kid, perhaps it might have offended the military crowd too much. Compare this to Platoon. It did have a powerful scene where the rogue American soldier, Sergeant Barnes, threatens to kill a very young child, and it had another scene to do with other rogue soldiers attempting to rape another Vietnamese girl before being stopped by Martin Sheen's character. But those deplorable soldiers can be passed off as the divined villains of the story, while the other soldiers played by Martin Sheen and Willem Dafoe are more wholesome. Therefore, we are encouraged to identify with them and their actions the most. And the third possibility is that Kubrick wanted to communicate a hidden theme or a hidden form of symbolism through the ambiguity of a sniper's age. In my opinion, I would say that the distortive, almost dreamlike elements of a scene communicates a sense of denial on part of the Marines. They killed a child, but they rely even to themselves that the person they killed was an older girl. The first-hand narration of Joker throughout the film and the camera angle showing the sniper, who sometimes looks into the camera, that kind of supports that kind of notion. Perhaps the idea of a 12-year-old girl single-handedly killing 3 Marines might have bruised the Marines' egos as well. So if they ever tell stories to others about this encounter, I think the Marines would probably lie about the sniper's young age. Remember as well of the Marine saying a sexual piece of dialogue about the sniper? If we are naive about this in the light of the sniper's actual age, we could say that this Marine has simply mistaken her as being an older person. But unfortunately, as we all know, sexual abuse of kids do go on in warfare. It's very well known. See this analysis video for more on this topic relating to Full Metal Jacket. A noteworthy mention as well, very relevant to the issue of the unspecified age of the sniper we are exploring here. Kubrick's very next film, Eyes Wide Shut, also featured a teenage girl of unspecified age who pimps herself to these Japanese guys, and the Japanese guys got into an argument with her father about whether she is a lady or a child. The girl herself looks almost as tall as Tom Cruise's character, but then again Tom Cruise himself is 5'7", nowhere as tall as Matthew Modine who played Joker, and he was 6'3". Thus, the height issue is not a concern for this scene in Eyes Wide Shut to keep the girl's age ambiguous. The age confusion issue in Eyes Wide Shut directly parallels that of the sniper in Full Metal Jacket. In conclusion, given all of the details we have explored about the subliminal structure of a scene, the strongly varied critical and public assumptions about the sniper's age, the screenplay details which I think show that the deliberate ambiguity of the sniper's age was present in the movie's conceptual stages, and the various details throughout the film that psychologically primed us for the sniper scene, I really do believe Kubrick intentionally fooled some audiences into thinking the sniper was older than she was. It certainly fooled the critics when the film came out. Whether that reflected the audience's perception of the sniper upon the film's release, I don't know. However, as I have shown, a number of people still mistakenly believe that the sniper is older than 12 years old. I mean, these interviews confirming the sniper's age was made public less than 20 years ago, but it seems not many people, even fans of Full Metal Jacket, are aware of this truth. Only this video study from a couple of years back cited Kubrick's interview. Having said all of that though, perhaps Kubrick wanted to subtly communicate the youthful aspects underneath the subliminal deception. I could say that the subtle presence of the childish element helped with the shock factor of a scene. Not many other movies ever show kids getting blown away on screen in a bloody manner. And finished. That is one example of the incredible subtlety going on in the second half of Full Metal Jacket. The second half is much deeper and powerful than it is given credit. So, what do you think of this video and of the sniper scene? How old did you think the sniper was when you first saw the movie? Did you ever change your position in later viewings? What details made you think she was older or younger? Have you ever correctly guessed her age, and at which viewing? Is Kubrick expressing a theme through this issue that I haven't mentioned? Do you have an explanation as to why there is a strong variety of responses from critics and audiences? Are there anything else interesting going on you would like to say? I think this would be an interesting point of discussion regarding not just Full Metal Jacket, but of human perception generally. Thus, I am turning this discussion over to you now. Let me know in the comment section. Thanks for watching.